Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Bence Veres, your host, and today we are going to be reacting to Vice's debates, and it's titled Anti and Pro-Feminist Debate, Abortion, Trans Rights, and #MeToo. So this is what we are going to be reacting to today. So make sure to watch all the way through the end. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and see where we end up. Also, I just want to say that apologies for the setup and the audio quality. I was seeing quite a rush, and also it's been uploaded 8 days ago, but I only had the time to get to react to it now. So we'll see how the debate goes, and I just want to share my thoughts. So yeah, without further ado, let's do this. All right.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can
Who
pick
has
what
no
we want to
barriers?
pick.
Who doesn't have barriers?
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do
barriers.
whatever you want.
I
stopping
can
you?
or you can?
What's stopping you?
All right, so an intro to get people to stay, watch all the way through. Just the usual with a heated debate. Let's see. Wise debate.
Should we?
Vice invited a diverse group of women to hash out the state of feminism in the US.
Mark this bad boy at all?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Liz Landers. I'm Vice News' chief political correspondent, and we are here today to talk about some of the biggest issues dividing women across the country. In other words,
Dividing women across the country. It's I just want to say feminism, it started out something as nowadays everybody can agree that, you know, what feminism started out as is it was a good thing, right? Like the ability to vote. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that everybody should be able to vote, but just in general, you know, that why were women not allowed to vote is long and another topic which I might touch on, but yeah, but so the ability to vote, even though I don't really agree that you should just vote based on that you existing, so that's one thing. But another thing is that, you know, women should be able to work and not be subjected to basically their fathers, the brothers, or one of their male relatives, not necessarily in terms of like them being their property, but they have the authority over their women. So I think, you know, I understand why it was, but nowadays it has changed. So yeah, I agree. As feminism as a movement, when it started out, it was a bit different than it is nowadays. But I think most people can agree that you know, the basic principles of feminism was a good idea. But I just wanted to, you know, make a mention of that.
we're here to talk about feminism. First, I just want to say we know we can't represent everybody's views, but we did try our best to bring together a diverse group of women today. In today's polarized
Diversity, the big word for the 2020s.
world, is feminism dead? I saw your hand.
I think that depends on the definition of feminism. I strongly think that feminism is more of an action than an
Eli
identity.
Eric.
I would say it's uplifting all women, in which case it's very alive. At the same time, if we do follow that definition, feminism has splintered off into so many different areas that you can look at people like Sheryl Sandberg who say you should just get another nanny if you feel oppressed.
The fuck? Gets another nanny if you feel oppressed. That's a bit what?
And if we're talking about that kind of feminism,
Hold on.
you should just get another nanny if you feel oppressed. And
Now that lady there, the one without legs in the machine, I just want to say how unfortunate it is that anyone can become disabled, right? Because like, even if you're born healthy, due to an unfortunate accident, you can become disabled. And you know, this is another topic. Like being disabled nowadays is just, you know, saying I'm more oppressed, I'm more of a victim, I have it worse off than you do, so I'm more entitled to, you know, pity and whatever. So I just want to say, being disabled, fucked up, not good. I feel sorry for most disabled people, but you have to have the attitude to think about it as you're being challenged even more so than other people, and not think about, oh, you know, how unfortunate I am and how bad do I have it, instead of thinking more of it as like, even if you believe in God or not, but that think about it that, yeah, God is challenging me and I must overcome this. So I think that's the right attitude to have. Just wanted to make a mention of that. But in general, I feel sorry for most disabled people, because me, you, anyone can become disabled, and especially this lady seems that she has lost her legs. Not great. She's like, being disabled, you have to rely on other people. Yeah, it's not great. Not great.
If we're talking about that kind of feminism, yeah, it's pretty dead.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the human race exists, feminism will never be dead. There's something that we're always going to have to strive and work.
Let me bet. All of these women, I don't know how many there are here, maybe 8 or 10. These women, not, how do I say this? Not two of them are gonna agree on the exact definition of what feminism is. No one. I mean, even me, if I have to come up with a definition of feminism, I don't know what to say, because it has changed so much over the years. Nobody knows what it means anymore. And this is what I started out with, that saying, you know, the ability to vote, the ability to have property, the ability to have or take control over your life instead of relying on men, saying, or, you know, like saying either your father, your brother, or your husband. So there is something what I can stand behind and say, you know, just because you're a woman, in the olden days it was a bit different, but now we have the good times, we live in better days. Women who should have more freedom, right? And abilities, and not abilities, opportunities, right? But if it goes back to shit, let's say because of another world war, then obviously we have to refer back to the olden days when women do have to become property again, simply because women are not as strong as men. That's it. So there's not much to say. Like, feminism is enabled by men, because women are unable to stand up for themselves because of their physical strength, right? So all the good things, all the mental retardedness, feminism, everything exists because men let it exist, because we live in good times. But if we were to go back to the bad times, it wouldn't no longer exist. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much because this is a long video. I think I'm gonna speed it up a bit as well. Just don't wanna take, you know, get this video to be very long. So that's it.
Work towards to make sure that there's equality.
It's 1.5
feminism's not
times,
dead.
so most
I don't
people
know that it can
understand.
die. As long
I
as it's
can
power and
understand it
oppression.
on double speed. But for most of my viewers, I just want to make sure that they understand it as well.
There will be people fighting for equity. And until that somehow goes away.
Equity. Listen to this word, equity. Equality and equity. There's a huge difference. Make sure you look up the definition and understand why modern day feminists say equity instead of equality.
Feminism is alive and well.
I think feminism isn't actually about equality. It's about equality when it benefits us. I think feminism
No, that's for
is really
sure.
about women wanting special privileges and treatment at the expense of men often.
The fucking smirk on her face.
Wanting special privileges and treatment at the expense of men.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And often. And I think it's alive and well, sadly.
I think feminism is also alive and well. There are different kinds of feminism, right? Like, that is obvious.
Remember, no two women here can agree on the same definition of feminism. Not two women.
And for me, as a womanist, as a Black feminist, right, as someone who's really thinking
Womanist, Black feminist, what the fuck? It's just throwing words out there without any meaning, I think.
about human rights, dignity, right, equity, right, as
Equity. Remember, equity.
long as that need isn't met, we're still going to keep fighting.
I'd say it's alive and well. I'd say that it's also very nuanced, and I think what it looks like is going to differ depending on where you are in the world.
Jordan Willow Evans, VE Vice, invited women to debate abortion, trans rights, and #MeToo. Why the fuck is a dude there? Why the fuck is a dude over here? Looking like a fucking retarded. Like, here's the thing. When I was growing up, in my country, in Hungary, it was completely accepted to dress as women as long as you did it for fun. Like, when you had special, like, school events and you had to dress up. When you wore women's dresses, that was something considered funny, right? It was something you had a good laugh at. But nowadays, people expect that, you know, they dress as a woman even though they are a man, and they want everyone to identify them as someone who they are not, like as women. But you cannot be a woman because you are a man, right? So dressing up as a woman is something most people can agree is just silly, right? Why would you expect everyone to treat you as a woman just because you're dressing up as a woman? Why the fuck do you have a voice saying, oh, I think women should X, women should that? But if you come as a masculine man, oh no, you can't say that because you're a masculine man. But for some reason, when you dress up as a woman, you can say whatever you want. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, no, fuck this. Way too many retarded people nowadays. Like, sorry, I can't take you seriously if you dress up as a woman and even though you're a man. That's not right. Like, I won't treat you bad. Like, if you treat me well or treat me nicely, I will treat you well. I treat you nicely with respect, everything. As long as you're not a dick to me, right? I'll give you back the same. But if you ask me to treat you like a woman or take you seriously, I'm sorry. I'll say to your face, I can't do that. It's just my personal belief. Women are women, men are men. That's it.
World. For me, I just see it as a lens, which
Man, and she looks like she has boobs and everything. It's fucking disgusting, man. It's ridiculous.
isn't necessarily antagonistic or protagonistic. It's just a useful tool.
Similar to what
A useful tool? What the fuck? How does the audacity of talking about women's issues when you're a fucking man dressed up as a woman is beyond me, man. It's fucking fucked up.
I find that a lot of
Oh, I
feminist
like
ideals
this
being
woman.
fought today
I like
feels more
Pearl
like
and
a
her.
supremacist movement rather than something that is supposed to be advancing the goals of equality. I don't think that we can really term what's going on as.
I mean, isn't like, you know, this feminism thing, they reached equality and now they want equity and they're going above and beyond. It's like the same with the LGBT stuff. Like the gay movement was all about equal rights for gay people, which is, you know, sexuality, it's your own thing. No one really cares. If you're gay but cool about it, no one cares, right? Be gay and live your life, no one cares. But when you start dressing up as, you know, this queer and in funny clothes and then going all about and then saying, oh, I'm gay, I'm, you know, telling other people what you are, even though no one cares, that's not cool. No one cares about it. Just be gay and just be cool about it. No one cares, right? But once you go this modern day LGBTQ stuff, it's retarded as well. It's going over the top. Just, you know, if you have, let me say it this way, if you're not heterosexual, which is like, what, at least 90% of the population today is heterosexual, right? If you're not in that 90%, just be cool about it. Don't be trying to show off and say, oh, I'm so gay and whatnot. Just be cool about it and no one will care and everybody will leave you alone. So I just wanted to mention that.
Feminism because it looks so different to, I think, the earlier feminist movement. So in that way, I would say it's taken its last breaths of life. It's dying.
Yeah, I definitely think it's getting more and more radicalized, for sure. So it's definitely still alive.
I think I'll preface and say that I don't know so much about modern Western feminism, and there might be a lot of terms that I don't know, like political jargon and stuff. But I believe in the advancement of women, whoever considers themselves a woman. I think there's a deficiency in society. So it's deeply rooted that feminism has always existed. I think America's a little obsessed with themselves, and it's like always feminism is rooted in America. And like, oh, white women started it, and it's kind of offensive because for thousands of years, women have been dying for their rights.
I think as a Black woman specifically, when you talk about feminism, yeah, the mainstream first thing you think about is a certain type of feminism that tends to exclude still, even today, even with intersectional feminism, exclude African-American women. It's always kind of done that, and also like upper...
African American. Another thing what gets me. How come you are African American, but you are not European American, Asian American, Indian American, and all these other things? How come it's white people, it's Asian people, and Black Americans? Make it make sense. I don't understand. It's like black people, no? Like, why are you... I just don't understand it. Why do you have to be such, like, your own group, man? It's whites, Asians, and blacks, and that's it. Like, America is a melting pot, right? And I do understand some black people's ancestors were taken and used as slaves. I understand that, but still, why do you say, you know, like African American, Black American, and all that? You're all American. Come on, it's like white Americans, Asian Americans. Is I don't know. It's just another thought I have. So why do you have to say that? Why can't you just say black?
Middle-class white women has predominantly been the face of what we quote-unquote consider feminism.
I think feminism is attempting to say, okay, the first thing we agree on is that there are barriers and friction to what I need and what I want based on the fact that I'm a woman. What it ignores is that, and what privilege is that you may not have to think that being a woman and being a black woman and being a black woman who has a disability, for example, impacts you further. You have more barriers, you have more friction, you are less able to get what you want. You're undervalued in a way that's like, okay, well, you know, that's like...
How are you undervalued? How do you get less? Like, give me examples. How do you, what is your experience? How does it present itself in your life, in your everyday life? I mean, sure, like this lady is disabled, so, but a man can be disabled. So how is it that she's a woman and she's disabled, right? I mean, yeah, technically, if you're a disabled woman, you, like, yeah, it's a bit worse off, right? Because like as women, you are valued for your youth, your fertility, and how beautiful you are, right? That's what most men care about. So if you're disabled and a woman, yeah, I understand why you might have it worse off than, let's say, if you were a man. But even if you're a man, like, no one gives a fuck about you if you're disabled. Well, this woman is here, right? So I don't know.
That's what I mean by equity, and that we're able to, without friction, all get the same needs met.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. See, I disagree with that. I think life is easier if you're a girl. Actually,
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of benefits that men don't have. I'm not going to speak anything to race.
I mean, some women certainly have it easier. I wouldn't say all, but also statistics. So I would say that more women have it easier than men do, right? That's something I can agree with.
Just talking about gender specifically, it's usually like an excuse. Like, honestly, I think as a girl, you have equal opportunity in the world. I think there's benefits. Like, for example, we have quotas for women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's easy.
There's another thing. In the EU, they said that I think maybe a third of like the CEOs and the managers and people on the board of directors have to be women. So now either there are two things gonna happen. One, women are gonna be treated even worse because their only job will be to fill a fucking quota, which is if I was a dad and my daughter would call me and say, hey dad, I just got a new job as a board of director on some big company. Like, you know, I want to congratulate my daughter on such an achievement. But when she says her next sentence, which is had to be there because they needed to fill a quota, I would feel pretty bad and disappointed that my daughter is being used as someone to fill a fucking quota for these fucking EU politicians and bureaucrats so that they can pat themselves on the back. You know, it's just demeaning women. It's like it's just destroying women. That's not right. Another thing is, so this is one, and the second thing is that what was it about?
For women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's easier being a girl.
What I wanted to say. So women get it without proving anything. They need to fill a quota. And another thing, I can't remember. Never mind.
Just from the viewpoint over here, that it seems there's a lot of pretty privilege in what you're saying, and that you're white and you present.
You think I'm pretty? Thank you.
I think that you present in a way that beauty standards have accepted, and so
they call me ugly on the internet all the time. They be roasting me daily. I swear to God.
I don't mean to say I think you're gorge. I just mean that there's a certain value that we give to certain bodies.
I mean, let's also dig into why these quotas exist and why these what you're calling
because we want
privileges
special
exist.
treatment.
This whitehead, I think it's a man. His or her voice, I don't know. I can't quite make my mind up, but I think that's a man.
No, it's because there have historically and presently in most jobs.
Looks a bit feminine, but that gives me men vibes.
Been fewer women, and because of sexism.
How is it sexism? When
Why the fuck is there two men here? What's his name? Eli something. So 6'10".
People like Sheryl Sandberg who say you should just get another nanny if you
women today. In today's polarized world, is feminism dead? Eli, I saw your hand.
Is more of an action than an identity. I would
Come back. Eli. American activist. Fucking trans. I cannot believe it. I knew it. Why is another fucking man doing on the panel? There are two men there, and it's about women's issues. Transitioned. Fucking hell. 6'10".
No, it's because they're.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can
Who
pick
has
what
no
we want to
barriers?
pick.
Doesn't have
Women.
Why is a man talking about how it's like being a woman? Just don't fucking. It's fucking mental retardedness.
Don't have barriers.
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do whatever
barriers.
you want.
I can or you can.
What's stopping you? As a woman, as a woman.
As a woman.
As a woman, as a
See,
woman.
That ignores a lot that I'm a woman with a disability. So there's a lot stopping me that you don't have to think about.
Well, as I
You
said
don't have to
before,
think
Sure,
about.
disability is
You're speaking as
is
you're
a
speaking for
big
yourself.
thing.
Speaking as
an
an able-bodied
able-bodied
woman.
I
Who presents white.
Of course, there's going to be other barriers if you're disabled. I'm sure. Like I'm talking about as a woman.
So you're
I
just
would
going to
agree.
ignore
White
the
women
pay
have it
gap.
easier. Yes, I would agree.
What?
You're just going to ignore the pay gap, regulation over body.
Pay gap doesn't exist, but I've talked way too much already. It's been going on for 23 minutes. Yeah, I think I'm boring now, so I just want to move on and watch the video. But yeah, the pay gap is bullshit. We all know it. It's a fucking scam.
Well, the pay gap doesn't exist. It doesn't. It's the industries that women pick.
Let's talk about
There's
it.
a pay gap, but it's because women don't want to do the hardest industries.
I don't think
That's
it's that simple.
right.
I think that's an oversimplification. I think the fact of the matter is that women structure their lives differently to men. Men don't give birth.
That's right.
Men don't have to carry pregnancies. Men don't have to be the
Yep.
primary caregiver most of the time. Women also don't hold jobs for as long as
Why is that man so sweaty?
men do. They often will stop and start. They'll go back into work. They'll take time off. They'll take part-time jobs. The way that men work and women work are astronomically different. And to try to say that they're comparable is where this issue comes from. They're not comparable.
Two things. First of all,
Those tits on that man is probably men tits.
let's dig into why they think that they should take these jobs, which is societal sexism.
Why the fuck you talking? You are a man. Even though you are transitioning and all that, you're still a man. Come on. Like, you're not a woman. Come on, you cannot give birth.
And then also, actually, Department of Labor, all statistics, at least speaking in the U.S., have found that when compared for the same jobs, there still is a pay gap, particularly when it pertains to race.
Because 60%.
If there's a pay gap, I only want to hire women only because they do the same work for less. Come on, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to hire women, if you are trying to employ people to get the job done, either to make you more money or save you time, you would always fucking choose women because you have to pay them less and get the same job done in the same quality, the same time, everything is the same, but for some reason they do it for less. Why are even men employed? Come on, like it's such a logical fallacy. You can disprove it if you have an IQ over 80, which is like 90% of the population. Come on, it's such a lie.
% of women have never asked for a raise. So how can you complain about your pay if you don't ask for
why are they not? What happens when women ask for a raise?
Sorry,
Sure,
I've
yes.
been wanting to say something, but I want to be respectful. I don't want to interrupt people, and I want to let them finish their
Yeah,
thoughts.
get it.
But you know,
Yeah.
it's
Through the
just,
wall.
it is a very privileged label, right, to be able to say that you're feminist, right? And I say that because I come from a working class background of Dominican immigrant parents. My mother would not necessarily identify as a feminist. I look to my mother, and I do think of her as a feminist. A lot of my ideas and my empowerment comes from seeing her like survive and put food on the table. When I'm thinking about feminism,
So you're Dominican, but you're a Black American. So now you're a Dominican American? I don't understand. Like, and she has very light skin, so like, I don't know. Like, the line is getting so thin, you can't even know is she white? Is she black? She might be a well-tanned black person. She might be, I don't know. It doesn't really work the other way around, but you know what I mean. Like, she has such a light skin. You could say maybe she had, or maybe you can tell from the hair, sure, but like, come on, like you could say she's a white woman, like maybe a well-tanned one, right? If she has a short hair or something. So I don't know. If I just look at her without the hair, I wouldn't necessarily say she is a black woman. That's all I'm trying to achieve here.
I'm always thinking about who's not part of the conversation. What are the barriers? How do we think about equity? How do we think about self-empowerment and agency and having a voice, right? And having choice, and thinking about our basic human rights, education, access to health, homes, like having bread, having food, and those things are very important, right? And they're at the crux, right?
It's been 9 minutes and I still haven't heard a single problem they presented. What is how their everyday lives being affected, you know, just because they're a woman.
What a lot of us here know that we need. It's like there are the barriers, right, that we constantly ignore that are very much systemic and microaggressive, right? We see them and experience them every day.
Like what in the U.S.?
So,
Like what?
What would you like to know an example of?
Yeah, like what? Like this is why I like Pearly things, because she's like logical. She understands. Like women are very emotional, and women tend to argue from emotional standpoint. But she's very logical. This is why so many people like her content, because she doesn't necessarily, you know, trying to be a pick-me girl and agree with everything a man says, but she's logical and rational, and that is something what you can say rare. Like, if you have to talk about these issues, let's talk about it from a scientific, rational, logical standpoint, and not being emotional. That, oh, I'm a woman, I feel this way, and right? She's the only woman who says concrete things about how women's life are being affected. All the rest, just, you know, doesn't talk too much, but I don't know.
I know you said that there's like barriers. I want to know what barriers in the U.S. today as a woman.
Yeah, what
well,
barriers?
as a woman or as a woman of color? Let's be specific.
As a woman.
Woman or woman of color, fucking hell. It's not just you're oppressed as a woman. No, no, no. I'm more oppressed than you because I'm a woman of color. That's right. I'm a woman of color.
And we don't. Well, no, I can't answer as a woman.
I
'cause I'm
just feel
not
like
a
your
woman,
question
right?
is kind of hostile when you're like, there are no barriers to what I want. Congratulations. That means you have a privilege where you're not facing any friction, and that's showing. And I feel like it's
I think as an American, you're very privileged. Like,
I mean,
I'm not ignoring that.
Or like a basic level of what, I mean, the feminist movement is when it comes to just being born a woman, right? Physically, pound for pound, we are born as women and we have less lean muscle mass than men. So there are issues of violence and assault and stuff like that. And so therefore, their policies are...
Yeah, this is why when you're a woman, don't try to, you know, take up fights with men. Just say, you know, I'm not trying to be argumentative. Don't try to hit men. Don't try to start fight with men, because it won't end well. And on the other hand, men has been raised as, you know, when you're a little, everybody tells you, oh, don't hit women. And you don't really understand, because when you're a boy and a girl, they are equal in strength. Because the hormones have not yet kicked in, right? But when you're a man and a woman, like, you shouldn't hit women, you shouldn't hit children, because as a man, you obviously have an advantage being more having more mass in terms of muscles and like your bone structures, your frame, everything. So, yeah, just wanted to make a note. But oh man, I'm talking so much.
There are things to help women physically, like, for example, I believe being able to carry a firearm and being able to use that safely to defend yourself against...
Yeah, well, come on, women, just go every 3 or couple of months, go practice shooting, carrying weapons. This is a good idea. Like, you won't beat a man in a fist fight or it's very unlikely. But yeah, learn to shoot, protect yourself. I completely agree. I think all around the world, everybody should be able to carry a weapon. Not machine guns and like bazookas and grenades and stuff, but just a 9mm pistol. Yeah, why not? It's just protecting yourself.
And men who are born naturally with more muscle mass than a woman.
I keep hearing the term equity. What would a world that has equity look like? Like, would it be 50?
Yeah, this is equity. What do they mean by equity?
50% of everyone in the same jobs? Would it be like prison, 50%?
That's equality.
50%. So, so what does equity look like?
So equity is generally described as a state of fairness because historically a lot.
I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be a dick, but why is a man talking? I'm sorry. It should be about women, right? Why are the two men? It's just fucking stupid.
People have been arguing for equality, but what does that give us? Like 0.5 of the.
No, sorry. I can't. Like, why is a man talking from a woman's standpoint? Now, I understand that he was 13 when he like transitioned, but still, it's just a fucking clown world, isn't it?
1% being women, this doesn't really do anything for us. So people have talked about equity instead, which is instead of sameness, it's fairness. And this would mean that we were
Sameness, fairness, emotional words. You hear it? It's not like logical, rational things what they talk about. It's fairness. It's very emotional words.
remove systemic barriers to engage in society, not just for women, but also for everyone.
So which barriers?
Those barriers that you don't believe in.
Maybe I haven't paid too much attention, but still don't know what's going on from... What was he talking about? Like, very emotional words, but nothing concrete. Maybe I'm stopping too much. I'm sorry to talk so long. I know the video was already way too long. I don't know if anyone will be watching it all the way through, but yeah, maybe I shouldn't stop it all too often.
What does it do for you to have a bunch of ramps in your life? It doesn't do shit. I need those ramps, right?
Can we stick to male versus female? That's my question. So I'm thinking male versus female.
But my feminism includes ability, it includes
my
race.
question is
You guys can talk.
Women versus men. Like what barriers do we need removed? That's my statement. I'm not stating anything else. I'm stating women versus men.
It's very silly.
So what barrier?
I just the question is silly. It's not a fair question.
How is it not a fair question?
Kind of proving the point of why what people, especially black women, other people who are anybody who's not white,
Especially
why
black
we,
women. Black women. It's not women. It's I have it worse off. I'm a black woman. It's just fucking oppression Olympics here.
hear feminism and we don't want that label because it means, I'm just gonna say, it means that. Like, it means that you've already gone to a pinnacle of whatever you think your happiness needs or whatever your survivalist needs are, when there are people on lower end who are trying to survive, who are trying to get to a point of what should be normal, based on what other people have.
It sort of sounds like you're saying feminism is not always inclusive then.
Right. It's most of the time it's not inclusive. It's more times than not.
But isn't like feminism? It should be it should be about women, right? Like, why are the two dudes in this panel? Like, it's like you're gonna include everyone, even men. What's feminism mean then? I don't know. Like, do you?
So, and within the just feminism space, again, there obviously the very basic is male versus female versus, but unfortunately.
Male versus female. Yeah, there are two dudes here talking about feminine stuff from a male perspective, even though they hallucinate that they are, for some reason, women. The audacity is...
We've only had one subset of women be the face and voice and the academics and research and everything to be able to say, well, that's the standard we need to be in, when there are other people who are still trying to get to some type of normalcy and just living.
What is the biggest issue then that feminism faces?
I think it's the mindset. Women taking, like the agency, women taking initiative. I think it's mindset holding them back a lot, because if you want to be in a competitive world and compete, you have to have the right mindset. And I think a lot of people blame their lack of confidence or what society tells them for the reason they're not achieving what they need to achieve, when that's not the case. You have to have the mindset of achieving, because the men who built the world had the mindset of building it. So the women who want to engage and build that further, they need to have that same mindset.
I don't think.
Agreed, right? So if women want to compete with men, they must become masculine. They must take on these masculine roles, these masculine personalities, everything. Like, women need to become fucking men in order to compete against men. That's it. Like, it's like, come on, man. It's femininity, masculinity. you can say it's into like it can be fluid, right? Like a woman can be masculine and a man can be feminine. That's valid, right? So that's something that everyone can agree with. We've seen masculine men, no, sorry, we've seen feminine men and we see masculine women. In order for women to compete in today's society and probably forever as we live, women need to become more masculine because femininity cannot be respected when you are competing. Like when you have a feminine personality, masculinity is just gonna come in and then fucking destroy it because it's an easy target. That's it. It's no competition. But like very masculine man and another very masculine man, it's very difficult to decide who is more what's the right word I'm looking for? Competent, right? Like between two masculine men or women or whatever, two masculine personalities, who is more competent, which is a masculine trait, right? Like males decide who should be on top because we live in a hierarchical world based on competency. If you're more competent than me, then you get to be above me. That's it. I'm not even questioning it because if I'm a useless piece of shit and if someone is a useful person, then they not just deserve, but we must make sure that they tell me what the fuck to do. Otherwise, the world is going to fall apart, right? So I agree that women, if they want to compete against men, like this feminism stuff is useless. They must become more masculine, and then they can, compete against men.
We do. I think it's like assuming that we all want to be capitalist babies.
Right.
I think that men are not well adjusted in the society and women are not trying to.
Men are not well adjusted. What the fuck do you mean?
Re-embody what they have built for us. I think that like what we're forgetting is a very important detail, which is just like human respect and dignity, and not
Human respect and dignity. Another like emotional words. None of them say anything concrete other than Pearly and Sydney.
asking people to prove what their experience is and to prove to you. Like it is like such conservative thinking to say like, I don't understand, explain it to me, versus just saying, I don't understand and let me respect what you are saying.
No, I'm respecting
right?
wherever you're starting point. I'm respecting that. I'm really respecting that. I'm saying that if you don't have the mindset you can even achieve it, you're never going to even try. So it's
But
never
achieve what? Like what are we talking about?
achieve
Because I
a
feel like you
fair
projected this
world.
like
No,
capitalist
achieve-
ideology on every woman.
achieve whatever it is you're looking for, equality, equity. But what I'm saying is women in the feminist space and a lot of these other spaces, we don't acknowledge that we have to take the initiative. We have to take the action. We have to have the mindset. We have to demand those things.
I don't understand how we're getting so off topic. This is about feminism today, whereas everybody wants to make this about their individual, here are all the multitude of other things that factor into my person. Great, this is about feminism.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, come on, there are two intelligent women on the panel so far. The rest are very emotional, and there are two dudes. So, like, come on, be on topic, be logical and rational, and let's get on with it. I'm sorry to talk in too much. I probably must be annoying, but hopefully by the end I've said what I have to.
It's about womanhood. I understand that all of you have your own individual experiences and the other things that feed into you as a person. That's perfectly fine. But this is where intersectionality falls off the planet and loses, I would argue, probably the vast majority of people, including me. I'm not even a feminist. I don't give a crap about feminists arguing amongst themselves about who's the most victimized. But this is annoying to listen to. I honestly I don't understand anything anybody's even trying to get at.
Look, I just want.
That's it. Like, my exact feelings. Come on, like this is the woman everybody can respect. She said perfectly what I meant, even though I was incapable of saying it myself. She perfectly summarized it. That's it. Like, she said what I wanted to.
I want to say that I don't think equity and this concept of competition.
You just need to prepare mentally. Like, why are there men on the panel dressed as a woman? Ridiculous.
Competition can't coexist with each other. Equity is building more facilities for people who need them. It is recognizing that there are holes in the market and there's opportunities for women and feminine expansive people and meeting those opportunities. I think equity can buoy the pre-existing system that we live in a good way.
And this is where we're going to get to what I think the real feminist arguments are based off of policy. And abortion is the biggest one.
How many of you would identify as pro-choice? Let's do a show of hands for pro-choice.
Another fucking binary thing. Why is everybody or everything is binary? Like pro-choice, pro-life. Like, come on, man. It's like life is shades of gray, not black and white. Black and white is the extremes of the spectrum, but everything is a shade of gray. Come on, man. It's
I feel like pro-choice is pro-life, though. Yeah.
Okay, and folks who identify as pro-life, why do you identify as each?
You've gone from legal, safe, rare to, yeah, I'm so proud, let me beatbox in front of the Planned Parenthood, yeah, I got murder on my mind. The fact that it's celebrated that murdering children, especially in late-term pregnancies, is celebrated, that people are so proud of themselves for mutilating a fetus, is just, it blows my mind. And I don't think that you need to be pro-life to even take that stance.
You said late-term pregnancy.
Yes.
A lot of abortions do not happen.
I made the distinction. I made the distinction specifically because lots of people still celebrate. There are people who, when the laws were passed actually here in New York, they said, yes, great, yes, I love the fact
but
that
you need to ask about what are people celebrating, right? They're celebrating access. We're
Well,
not
well,
celebrating
that's-
killing
hey,
kids. Like that's
but
not what
then
it
why-
is.
well, this is what I'm
So
saying.
like,
When-
here's the thing: when we're talking about access to reproductive health and to abortion rights, right, and to being pro-choice, listen, that's your body. You do you.
The child
If
is
you
not your
decide-
body. As I go. A baby.
It's so scary for me to hear people calling like guns the biggest equalizer for women, but taking their choices away from them at a policy level.
Why is that?
Having a gun is an equalizer.
It is.
Having rights is an equalizer.
Yeah, that's
Having
right.
choice is
Right,
an equalizer.
just like a gun right.
And in this country,
41 forms of
the
birth control.
policies that are pushed
41.
to continue perpetuating patriarchy and anti-women,
Patriarchy.
like taking the autonomy away from women, it is heartbreaking to see women pushing that propaganda. It's all brainwash. Like you,
Oh,
it
it's
is-
brainwash because you
I
don't
think-
agree with
no,
me, so
I,
therefore
I'm
I'm
brainwashed.
brainwashed.
I have lived deeply institutionalized.
Man,
I have lived.
Why do I have the feeling that they cut out parts, right? Like maybe we're missing something what they said previously, so it might not be the full picture. I mean, they probably cut it, but I don't know. Maybe we missed something here. They seem to be very much against each other.
Islam, I'm not interested in any of that. Like, there's no like
You're not
guilt for
interested in
me.
human
No, I'm not interested in like
living.
thinking that like
Maybe I could agree with one thing is both a man and a woman would be the host, because this lady doesn't seem to be saying like shut the fuck up, let's just cool it off and then let's begin, let's breathe and then start. Like when women just shout over each other, that doesn't really make much sense. And like putting your hands up is like, come on, we are not in school anymore. You are all adults. Like, come on, do you really have to put your hands up? You said your piece. If you want to say so, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but there's too many people here. I don't know how to facilitate such a conversation.
women are doing this really bad thing. Like in my religion, abortion is actually allowed. If the woman needs it, she's allowed, because you know it's very interesting how like fundamental America is. Like fundamentalist.
This has nothing to do
very,
with
very like
even
deep
religion. This is very
I like her earrings. They are made from shells, bullet shells. Yeah, I like this woman. I like her jewelry, and yeah, she's all right.
basic scientific human rights.
We're also talking about people not having access to abortion clinics where they're doing the things themselves and they die. Right? We're also talking about women in the hospital who are pregnant, who have chosen to stay with their pregnancy and have issues at hospitals, and hospitals that are like, oh no, we don't do that. Listen, for whatever reason, you don't need to explain it to anybody, but a lot of times when we're talking about access to reproductive health, for me, I'm thinking about Black, Indigenous people of color, particularly women and girls who are working class.
Black Indigenous people. Oh, come on. Oppression Olympics.
Who do not have even access to like proper sexual education. It's the oppressive state of saying, I will force you to have a child even against your own will, right? Especially when you're thinking about women and girls who would be forced to have these children who are already living in very traumatized and scared situations. You want to ask about barriers? That's a barrier right there.
Women in poverty aren't able to access the way that rich women are, and no matter what happens, rich women are going to keep getting abortions, and people in poverty are going to not. And the choice, opening it up, the overruling, is marginally affecting people of color, people in poverty, way more than people who are going to get access to those abortions.
Actually, incorrect. You're missing the misquote. There's actually more abortions for people in poverty. It's just at a lower rate.
Why do you think that abortion?
What? There are more abortions for poor people. What? Let me hear this again.
It's just at a lower rate. Incorrect. You're missing the misquote. There's actually more abortions for people in poverty. It's just at a lower rate.
What? There are more abortions for poor people. Let me hear.
Poverty, way more than people who are going to get access to those abortions.
Actually, incorrect. You're missing the misquote. There's actually more abortions for people in poverty. It's just
More abortions for people in poverty,
at a lower rate.
but they are to. Yeah, I'm probably stupid. I cannot pass this sentence. Like, what do they mean?
People in poverty, way more than people who are going to get access to those abortions.
Actually, incorrect. You're missing the misquote. There's actually more abortions for people in poverty. It's
There are more abortions for people in poverty,
just at a lower rate.
but at a lower rate. Yeah, I'm stupid. I don't understand what it means. Yeah, no, let's just move on. I'm stupid.
Why do you think that abortion has been so tied up in this feminism conversation?
It's all just social structure set up around bodies. So if not all women are able to have babies, but it's about the barriers and value that we give to these specific bodies, right? And so if abortion happens in a woman's body, that's why this conversation is coming up.
Can we all agree that only women can give birth? I think that would be a good grounds to start this conversation off, right? Like, can we just agree on this simple fact that only women can give birth?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said that not all women are able to have babies or pregnancies. Are you saying, meaning like an infertility issue?
A number of reasons. There's all kinds of reasons.
Yeah, some women cannot do it, but it's just the same with men. Like some men do not have like sperm or healthy sperm or whatever. But yeah, some women cannot give birth. Doesn't change the fact that they are women.
That not all women are having babies.
Pearl, I saw your hand up. Yeah.
I think women want to sleep around and not have any consequence for it.
Hell yeah, we do.
Yeah!
Everybody likes to have sex, so just yeah. I mean, modern world all fucked up. People are not religious anymore. It's just as Nietzsche said, God is dead. Another thing what we could go on forever, but yeah, people are not, they do not have the structure in their lives, right? So they just want to sleep around, fuck around, not think about consequences and all this stuff. It doesn't make, you know, it doesn't make it right. Like it's not right. Like sleeping around has consequences, especially for women. So just because there are contraception, you know, it's difficult.
Yeah, instead of taking personal accountability and being on birth control, they just want to like do whatever they want.
You say this like
I
it's a
think that's
bad
flippant.
thing.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you said.
Can I also ask, do you have any care to empower women, or is disempowering women part of your like steez?
What is like, she's not disempowering women. It's just like accountability is all what she's about, right? Like oh no.
And girls who are working class, who do not have even access to like proper internalized racism.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm saying specific things that you're saying, like women don't want to work, women don't want to this.
Empowering to sleep around.
No,
Why
what
is
I'm
it
saying
empowering?
is, can I also ask, do you have any care to empower women, or is disempowering women part of your like steez?
To see this as shame, insult, guilt, need to be right. Okay. Why is it empowering to sleep around?
No,
Why is
what
it
I'm saying is
empowering?
like I feel
She said it. Why is it empowering to sleep around? Men are not women. Women are women. Men are men. For men, sleeping around is what makes a man. For women, sleeping around, yeah, it fucks you up. It's not good. Like no one wants to touch a woman who, no one wants to wife up a woman who slept around with like 100 men, right? Like, come on, like, let's just be real. But if a man has slept with 100 women, I mean, some women might find that revolting, but on the other hand, is that going to be the same? It's not really, right? Like, if a woman sleeps around, like, how do I know that child is mine? How can I trust you to be a good mother if you have such a past? But if you're a man, you're probably a womanizer, right? Like, you've got the skills to take women off their feet. So it's two different categories, right? Like for women, sleeping around, not great. For men, it's not it's different.
I feel like you do like take like the way you speak on women is very sort of like women just don't want to do this, women just don't have this, women just want to this, and I wonder why you have so much like hatred towards women.
I don't hate
Where
women.
does that root in? It
I
sounds
don't hate
like
women.
you do.
I am a woman.
That doesn't mean you don't have
I could be black and still be internalized racism.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm saying
her.
specific things that you're saying, like women don't want to work, women don't want to this, women want to sleep around. Where did you learn these belief systems from?
Because, okay, the question was, why does abortion keep getting brought up? 40% of women that have had abortions have had 2 or more. 40%. So what does that?
Fucking hell, 2 or more? Sheesh. That's, yeah. That's bad. 40%.
Say to me, that means you're using it as a form of birth control, and they don't track the 6.
Yeah, using it as a form of birth control. That's right. That's way too much. Like maybe one, if like, you know, accidents happen, but they're 40% 2 or more.
60%.
What kind of
Can you let me finish? They don't track the 60% to say who in the future has abortion. So to me, it's like, why are they dying so hard for abortion? They want to sleep around with no consequences, even though you have 41 forms of birth control.
Who does that benefit? I don't think that benefits women. I think actually that benefits men because it means that men can have sex with you without consequence. It means that you can sleep with whoever you feel like, great, but there are consequences because women are the ones who get pregnant and carry babies and give birth.
It's very binary.
come on, like, she's a smart woman. Come on, like, you have to agree what she says. Like, come on, yeah, smart woman. She says what has to be said.
Version of
Yes,
sex.
Or
because,
what
because
needs to
sex
be
is
said.
binary, but please let me finish my point.
Oh God.
It's tricking women into thinking that aborting a pregnancy, terminating pregnancy is something to be celebrated, when in reality,
Yeah, it shouldn't be celebrated. It's like, I mean, I agree. It should be available as an option, but you know, you shouldn't be like, oh, I just had my fucking third abortion. Like, come on, don't celebrate it. It's not something you should be proud of. It's something that is like, you know, things happen. It just should be something that is like a last resort, right? Like, if you don't want it, then at the end of the day, it's the woman's decision to, because she's the one who gets pregnant, right? So it's her decision. It's like, come on, the third, fourth, fifth, that's not right. Maybe the first, yeah, like you had one abortion. I understand you weren't in the right place at the right time, wasn't the right man, whatever, but 40% or more,
for a lot of women, especially those who are doing it under duress, say that they've been raped, or that, you know, in the small circumstances where something really traumatic
yeah, I know the statistics, so I looked it up a while ago. Like, abortions from rape, incest, and all the bad stuff is like less than 5%. So 95% is just because. So that's a bit strange, right? Like almost all of the abortions are from, like, I just didn't want to have the baby. It's not because something that everyone can stand behind, like incest or rape, right? Like, yeah, have the abortion, like, definitely. But 95% is not those bad things. So
has happened to them. That's a medical decision, or say that they're miscarrying and then they have to, you know, have an assisted termination. That's a medical.
yeah, yeah, that's a medical thing. Yeah, it's another thing. Like, abortions, they do have their place. Like, if it's like the woman's life is in danger, then definitely.
Procedure. It's not a celebration of, oh, look at the
The idea, the sort of like moral setting of that it needs to be rare is, I think the delineation between that's a medical abortion and that's like a fun abortion is really interesting, because they're all medical. It's all a medical procedure. And so no matter what you're doing, going in there and getting.
They're all medical, true, yeah, but still the like your attitude towards it being something like, I must have this because my life depends on it, or, oh, well, I was just sleeping around. I don't know who the father is. I do not want to have a baby because I want to be sleeping around. It's two different attitudes.
Getting it, like, it's not like, oh, you're only allowed two. It's just like, you should just be able to get a medical procedure done when it's something that you need done.
We shouldn't be desensitized to taking someone's life. That should never be an empowering factor for a woman.
I definitely agree in that, like, there should be no absolute thing any woman should do.
Another thing is, it's really hard to say when life begins. You know, I don't think abortions are great, but then again, they are necessary. It shouldn't be something what is taken lightly, but at the end of the day, it should be the woman's choice. And yeah, it's difficult, but it should definitely be something as what society tells women, that, you know, if you need to have this, then have it. But it shouldn't be something like as like a plan B, if you know what I mean.
There should not be an absolute response to incest or rape or any of these things. Every woman should have the choice of if they want to or not want to carry that child, whether it is having fun, getting raped, incest, whatever it is. I don't glorify and glamorize abortion. I think it's a very traumatic thing. I doubt that if somebody has to do, like, if they have to do it, they'll do it. I don't think that people are like, you know, doing like have 6, get the 7th free and having fun with it. And I think that, like, glamorization and glorification of any side is not okay.
Did the Dobbs decision make anybody here sort of rethink abortion access, reproductive health care?
It's anti-woman, right? It does not center people to have that voice for themselves and their own decisions, right? It is a barrier, right?
It's giving more agency to women because it's moving it back to the state level. So locally,
but why would the state have
locally
the ability to tell you what to do?
Locally, the women have that power.
If you take out the viewpoint that life begins at conception, which is a really big defining principle for both the pro-life crowd, who very, very, you know, vehemently believe that, and then obviously a lot of the pro-choice crowd do not believe that. Taking that out of the equation, you do not have just whatever.
I mean, technically, if you think about it, like, let's just be honest here, like, because humans like they smart, right? Like their brain takes time to develop. Like for women, I think it's like 20, and for men it's 25, and the brain finishes developing. But still, like if you see all the other mammals or most animals, their offspring, their children, they are capable of fending for themselves and hunting for themselves pretty early in their life, right? But like a human, it takes at least like 7 to 10 years. Like a 10-year-old kid might be able to make it on their own. And I'm saying it like might. It might be even like 14-ish when they really become at the point when they can really and not I don't mean in the like the modern world, but in like the natural world, right? Like when they need to go hunting or fishing and fending for themselves, like the animals do out in the wild. So technically, even though they are breathing, thinking beings, maybe at like 3 years old, that doesn't mean they can take care of themselves. And if you look at the animals in the world, their offspring, if they can't take care of themselves, they just die. So I'm not supporting killing children or whatnot. But this is another thing. Like feminism exists because we live in a good world nowadays. And this like abortion thing, people used to kill their children because it was a burden, another mouth to feed if there was famine. If the kid was retarded, then what good it is. But nowadays, everybody wants to keep the retarded kid alive, or wants, or laws mandate that children need to be not aborted, even though the parents don't want it. So I don't know, like it's a difficult topic, but killing children, not great. But then again, if we were to live in the bad times, then like kids retarded in the bin, kids not sufficient, cannot take care of themselves, is gonna die eventually. So I don't know. Like this, what I'm trying to get to say here, because we live in a good world, our standard of living is high, we get to be, like we have a good life, right? That's the only reason why all these things exist. Otherwise, if a kid is incapable, or how do I say that? If a kid is incapable of taking care of itself by, I don't know, maybe 10, 7, 14, I don't know, then nature will take care of it. This is just what I wanted to say.
Whatever kind of autonomy you want as a person, it's regardless of male or female. You can't just have free run to do whatever the hell you want. That's not how society operates. So
At no point do I have the right to tell anyone in this room what they should or should not do with their bodies.
But it's not about your body.
It's not about respecting a person here.
It's not about your body. It's about the kid's body. I don't care what you do with your body.
It's my body, right? We're talking about my body.
Jordan, I saw your hand creep up.
The Dobbs decision for me reinforced how important it is that we approach these issues from a cultural perspective, because it reinforces something that I have told many of my colleagues and peers in the past, which is that so long as you lack a cultural consensus, any issue can become a political football that can be decided by another election cycle. And so long as there is no strong consensus, I would expect this to be our reality going forward, these extremely vitriolic and aggressive conversations until there's another miraculous consensus that brought about Roe v. Wade. But what it more or less reinforced for me is that we're going to have more of these difficult conversations.
I want to talk about transgender issues. Should trans women be included in feminist conversations? How about in women's spaces?
No, you're not women, you don't get to say. That's it. You can have an opinion, but at the end of the day, if you want to decide women's rights and all that sort of stuff, nowadays it's about down to the women, right? If you go back to the bad times, I mean, come on, men's gonna tell what women, or men's gonna tell women what to do, even though they don't want to do it. I'm sorry, but this is the truth, right? But today, if like, you don't have a say, right? Like, come on, you're a man, so you're talking about women's issues and stuff. Like, come on, like, even though you're trans, like, you're not a women. Come on, like, you're a man in a woman's clothing.
Yes, they're women. What's the question?
Nah. Definition of a woman: what is a woman? An adult, human, female. That's it. It's that simple. It's define women. They can't.
Trans women are women.
So I want to come at this from the position of an athlete.
Oh, Jesus.
So I play semi-pro basketball, semi-pro volleyball. So when it comes to like athletic spaces, I don't think that trans women should be allowed into athletic spaces because I don't think it's a fair. I think as female athletes, we work so incredibly hard for the little opportunity there is in women's sports.
Would this be a barrier?
Like this, there's no.
Just think about it. No one fucking watches women's sports. Women's sports in general and women athleticism, no one really cares about it because like even the worst men can outperform these women. So when a man comes in and dominates women, like come on, like, it's so pathetic that men decide that they are women now and they fucking dominate women's spaces as well. Like what's the point of having women and men if you dominate or men dominate the fucking women places? Like it doesn't make sense. Like there's a purpose why you have two categories for men and women, the best men and the best women. I'm sorry, but no trans or whatever in the women's category. There are some outliers and it's always going to be the top women and the top men. Those are going to be always outliers, but even though you know that they're outliers, they still fit their genders. That's it. So no fucking men in women's sports. Men just gonna dominate women's field. And like, come on, imagine if you have a daughter, right? And she finishes fucking 5th place because the top 4 is men. She's the first, but there are 4 men above her. That's not right.
No barrier. There's less opportunity in some industries.
That's what a barrier is.
There's less. It's not. No. It's based on the market. Okay.
Hold on, guys.
Okay. So again, we work very hard for the little opportunity there is in the space because we're not as entertaining as the men. Sorry, we're just not. And so it's like you're going to take the little opportunity that we're given. And the problem is like, we can't compete. We can't. Like I'm 6 foot. If I go up against a 6 foot guy and I play basketball with him, he's going to body me.
And what happens if I go?
There are 2 women on this panel who I can confidently say they're sensible, they know what they're talking about, and you should listen to them. Maybe the woman in the front with the nice earrings, I like her, but and maybe the one but sex sits next to her, maybe she's all right, but
even if I have years more of training. And so it's like you're taking away the little opportunity that we're given and we all work so hard for, and you're just giving it back to biological guys. It's like this will be the end of women's sports.
Yep.
Have you tried confidence?
Eli, hold on, Minnie.
Sorry,
Eli.
confidence can't make me bench what a guy benches.
I don't
Confidence can't
understand
make
why
me
you guys
6'7".
are so hostile. She's sharing her
And confidence
experience
can't make
in
me
a
6'7".
specific
No, she's
field.
sharing
And
her
I'd have to go.
experience.
No, she's not. She's a woman who's had an experience.
It's
You guys are so obsessed with your own experiences and your own existence, and yet when a woman is sitting here
yeah, this host needs to say like, shut the fuck up. Like she needs to do a better job of managing the debate. Like the host of the debate should be someone like, you know, like if she's respected, if she says something, it has to be that way.
are telling you, I feel as though this is unfair and this is compromising and the situation is not helping women. You guys are like, meh, meh, meh. But when you're like, I'm a black person that did this, 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 and this, then it's valid and fair and viable.
Eli, I want to give you the chance to respond.
So this is basically a joke of a talking point. Everyone has biological advantages in sports. How tall are you?
5'11" and a half. I'm tall.
I'm 5'8". I am a trans woman. You would crush me. You would absolutely
bone
crush me.
density, wrist strength, muscle density, you can't switch those.
Yeah, exactly. You would crush me.
But also, Eli, you would never play at the level that pro plays because you would never get there.
So let me give you just a few more examples here too. So Michael Phelps produced more lactic acid in his body, which caused him to swim better than any of his competitors. This was widely celebrated, and nobody contested it. Now, this is a performance-enhancing hormone. So we all have different bodies. And now I'm not saying that trans women who aren't on hormones should participate, but there are, I mean, every major medical and every major sports organization agrees that trans women who have been on hormones for between 1 and 3 years, depending on the organization, have the same capacity.
Yeah, but because they have to be fucking woke, don't they? So if they don't, they fucking get cancelled. So it's like, what's the point? Like, I must say something even though I don't agree with it, because otherwise I get cancelled. Just
competitive abilities.
The study that you're referencing had like 7 people participate.
That's misinformation, by the way. I'm referencing several different studies. I'm a trans woman and a researcher.
It's getting personal. I don't want it to be
a lot
personal.
of us live in this space where we're told that our opinions don't count because they're not the right kind of opinions, and we're constantly shouted over and talked over, regardless of what we look like, because there's one group in society that basically takes precedence, and it's frustrating. So yeah, of course, it's frustrating.
how can you laugh like that? That's not right. That's a dick move. It's not right to laugh like that.
Because when we try to talk about it, we get shouted down.
She's talking about, or they get talked over, their opinions don't matter, and then this bitch fucking laughs like a fucking I don't even know what it sounds like.
we get told to be quiet. We get spoken down to as well. So
Okay, I
there's
think-
hostility there for plenty of women.
Let's try to make this an opportunity to speak.
You're
with
literally a
each
white
other
woman from
then.
Australia. You live in a bubble and you're pissed that voices that have been silenced forever finally can be heard.
That's why they have the voice, because they speak up.
Okay, we're having a conversation about transgender women participating in sports, and I wanted to allow more people to participate. Jordan, I wanted to hear from you.
So I am not a professional athlete. The closest thing I have
You don't say.
ever done to anything athletic was I used to do competitive show choir when I was younger. And
What? Show choir? What's that?
I don't feel really qualified to make carte blanche statements about whether or not trans women should compete in every kind of
What do you need to be qualified for? Look at the statistics. Like, the worst of the worst men outperform the best of the best women.
sport. And I understand that that is kind of, that's a hard pill to swallow. And for me, my first inclination is to approach everything through a lens of inclusivity. But at
Inclusivity, yeah.
the same time, I also can't speak accurately to every kind of sport and the different things that go into it. So I really think in these instances, the decisions are best left up to the professional governing bodies that dictate these particular sports.
I just feel like in places, as an ally in places where there's no understanding, we can just respect and not really.
I don't like her. She's annoying as fuck, and I don't like her. I like those, like, her clothes. I don't know, these are coins or something on her clothes. I don't know. That looks nice.
Like, our opinions don't fucking matter.
Eli, I saw you nodding your head over there.
Well, is she trans as well? That woman. I mean, she's a bit more feminine, but I don't know.
Several times. This is more than about sports. This is about free and equal participation for transgender people in social life. And
Men, women, trans people. If trans people want to compete, they get to compete with other trans people. Problem solved.
the right sees this as a socially acceptable way to begin to remove trans people from different engagements in our society. So it does just start with sports or bathrooms or locker rooms, something that they find is more acceptable. And then at this point, they start to move into education, getting trans teachers fired, banning trans books. This is a route that is very effective because it's seen as
the fucking audacity of people nowadays. We have such a good life and we live in such a good environment and everything is all nice and dandy, that this is the biggest problem of these people. Come on, man, we need a World War III. I would be probably the first to die in probably a very pathetic way. But still, all these trash people need to die off. We need real men, not these fucking pretentious cunts who say, oh, I take hormones, so I'm a woman now. Go and be on the front lines. And yeah, come on, man. We need another good war, because where are the all real men have gone? All these fucking trans people, what are they gonna do? Definitely not fight. They probably suck each other off and then say, oh, you know, I suck you off better, so we won. And it's just fucking ridiculous.
more acceptable. But it's also overlooking a lot of major details. Like, I mean, do y'all know how many trans women have won national titles?
One too many.
One.
One, two. Yeah, good one, good one, good one.
The only
One
one.
too many.
If women,
Too many?
if women's sports were actually
One
going to
too
end in
many.
some way, I mean, that's just not happening. Wouldn't you think there would be more trans women in sports when the majority of states do allow trans women full participation? International titles?
Yeah, but that's not right. Everybody knows it. Like, come on, man. Let's have a third category. If you're trans, you compete in trans. That's it.
Zero. No global titles have ever been won by a trans woman.
I want to
Based
move
on
on to a different
background.
topic. I want to talk about Me Too and sort of this social movement that we're living through right now. What is the state of feminism sort of in this post-Me Too era?
We're in post Me Too.
All right.
Tell me.
Sorry, I got distracted by the Me Too part. So I was like, we're post Me Too? Wow, like no one's getting like sexually harassed anymore. Like,
We did it, guys. We solved the problem.
I want that world. No, I think obviously the state of feminism is very much reflected right in this room. But Me Too for me, right, in a particular context, means something for different people. It's a different experience for different people. In my culture and in my community, we're still working through that. There is no post Me Too, right? We're still working through how do we have these tough conversations? How do we teach not just, women, but everyone about consent? What does consent look like? What does that look like in our community? What does that not look like, right? All those things that I think it's still very complicated. But I think it starts at the level of community, right? Of like, how do we have these conversations around consent?
Sydney, I saw your hand up.
So when the Me Too thing was unfolding, I was initially like great. I love the idea of women being able to speak out. What's been really disappointing, I suppose, for me, post-Me Too, as we're calling it, is that, and especially as someone who's sort of on the right wing of politics, I think that a lot of the experiences of women on the right get a bit trivialized because there is a lot of politicizing of sexual assault. So when something legitimately happens on our side of the table and someone tries to speak up about it, there's almost an automatic disbelief. And I understand why. It's because of the believe all women type of stuff that came out of the Me Too movement, that a lot of us were like, wait a minute, no, people do use these situations for gain, people do make things up, people do lie. But it is sad to watch it happen. It makes me sad that we're here.
Jordan?
I feel like there'll never be a post-Me Too.
A lot of women have accused men that they've been, you know, sexually or inappropriately touched or Me Too'd and whatnot, but you know, they lied in court and they tried to destroy some men's lives, and that's not right. So believing a woman is stupid. Also, how do you prove a rape? It's a difficult problem to solve, but another thing what people just think they can, you know, they take it on way too lightly. It's something serious, right? And not often, but for some women it happens, and it might be traumatizing. It does happen for some men as well, but it's not right. I mean, it's hard to say anything which might add to the conversation, but this Me Too thing, yeah, sure. Some women could talk about it finally. They might got, you know, rejuvenated that they were finally able to talk about it, like a heavy rock fell off their chest. But some women abused it. On the other hand, when you suck dick to get into a movie, and then later Me Too became popular, then you fucking said, oh, I pile on this guy because I had to suck his dick to get into a movie, and you know, I wasn't happy about it. Hey, come on, if you want to get something done as a woman, and if you suck a man's dick and that gets you ahead, all I'm saying is you shouldn't have regrets. You did it, you get to live with it. There's no backsies.
Because at the heart of it, Me Too is just a phrase.
Why is she so sweaty? Well, she's proper sweaty.
The spirit of what Me Too represented will always be relevant.
Is
and
he
that is
all
that
right?
you are empowering individual women to advocate for themselves and speak out when they feel like they're being wrong. Ideally, you're just trying to be the most transparent and self-accountable person you can be. And you need to hit all of those fronts, if you want it to last on a cultural level.
How about beauty standards? We talked a little bit about this. This got brought up at the beginning. How does that tie into femininity?
Sorry, I'm very into this idea because I do think it is one of the larger intersections that just doesn't get very discussed, which is, like I was talking about before, barriers and friction are placed up around bodies. And the fatter I get, the older I get, the less people.
I mean, it sucks to be her, right? Because she's disabled, she can't move. Like, come on, like, she's only get to do upper body exercises. So, yeah, she will get fat. She is getting older. Yeah, she has it the worst of. Like, there's no going around it. Like, that's just the truth. She has it the worst out of all these women. But it sucks to be her. I understand. And women tend to be more, or tend to have more body fat. But yeah, I mean, I pity her because yeah, she can't even exercise properly. Unfortunate accidents, or I don't know what happened with her, but accidents can happen to anybody.
People will listen to me, the less value I will have for society. So, you know, I'm already starting out as a woman with no legs. If I had something on my face, I have my beauty. That's one of my privileges. I have my whiteness. That's one of my privileges. I used to have.
Yeah, sure. Oh, look at me. I've got white privilege. Fucking
Have thinness, and now I'm getting fatter. Things are changing, and I think every single time that we talk about feminism, pretty privilege should be discussed because we have these ideas. If your skin tone is
yeah, pretty privilege exists, but I mean, winning the lottery in genetics is, come on, it's like you're born with it, right? So don't be arrogant. If you are pretty and you know it, just be cool about it. That's it. Everybody knows you're pretty, then just be cool about it. Don't be arrogant, and it will be all right. Obviously, you're gonna have better chances in life, and you're gonna have a better life because you're pretty. But I mean, don't you want to look at pretty people? They should be the ones who procreate with other pretty people, so we have more pretty people in the future generations, right? So, well, fucking ugly people procreate, and we have ugly people. So ugly people stop fucking, and then you'll have more pretty people in the future. Problem solved.
This, if your hair is this, if your body looks like that, it's about whether
Well, everybody wants to have fucking, well, everybody wants to fuck and want to have children, right? So
or not you are given an equal opportunity based on what you look like.
I saw it.
I think
why would you be given an equal opportunity? If I fancy you, but I find you, you know, ugly, then obviously I'm gonna be more favorable with the pretty people. Like, come on, like.
a lot of times the women that complain about beauty standards don't complain about them when they got privilege, when they were young and attractive and thin. So it's like, yeah, you're complaining when the privilege is gone, but privilege is invisible to those who have it. And women, it's a privilege. And men don't turn 18 and get.
I love when she does the faces.
One of the most integral parts of the beauty conversation has been colorism. I'm a dark-skinned Black woman, proud of it. And
why do I have the sense that if Black people stopped playing the victim card all the time and having this victim mentality, like they would very quickly get ahead and be like an equal of the white people and the Asians and all that? Like if you believe you are worse off because you're Black, obviously you're gonna limit yourself in your mind. But if you think about it, I'm worth just as much as any white or Asian, then you're gonna be better off. Like, don't limit yourself mentally, in your brain, right? Just think about in a way that yeah, I can do it. Even though I'm Black, I can do it. I can achieve the same as anyone else. I am just as valuable as anyone else. But don't play the victim card, because if you play the victim, that means you're already behind them. Not gonna end well.
and having myself, for the most part, I did not. Well, why am I going to cry about this? I did not.
So funny when women get emotional. Cry over nothing.
Grow up thinking I was beautiful because I was that. And I think in the black space, we have these conversations, but I think I'm glad I bring it up because I think feminists actually really should be part of the colorism topic, because colorism is not just shades within being Black, it's shades because they're, again.
If Black is a color, white is a color.
The beauty standard is the closer to whiteness you are, the more beautiful you are. I think it's something that if more people in different shades, particularly white women, because of knowing that.
There are a lot of Black beautiful women. The fuck she's on about? Like, I find Black women, like, sure, like, I'm white, I'm European, Eastern European, right? Like I haven't encountered a Black person until I was probably 13. Because, like, Hungary is super homogeneous, right? So my beauty standards, like Eastern European women, I fancy them, right? But I still find like a certain portion of Black people or Black women attractive. So it might not be as high. So like out of every 10 Black women, I find maybe, I don't know, 3 attractive. And from here in Hungary, I find maybe out of 10 women, 6 attractive. But that doesn't mean they are not as pretty. Like, it's subjective, right? So they might not be as much on like on magazines and TVs and ads and all that, because Black skin color doesn't, like, it, how do I say this? It's just, it doesn't look as good as white in terms of like the tonality and the facial structure. So white people have, because of the skin color, it comes off as, it's hard to really talk about it because I don't quite know the words or how to explain myself, but it's like, it's easier to find white faces attractive because of like like the hue and the like the I don't know about much about like you know how light works, but it's because white is like it's reflective while black is it takes it in, right? So light is not gonna look the same, and humans prefer when things like reflect, not when they absorb all the light. I know I explain myself very badly, but it's like sure, white skin color will look more beautiful than black, but that doesn't mean black women are not beautiful. And so, but yeah, I understand why they are not featured as much on TV and in ads and stuff, because I mean she has a light brownish skin color. That can look good, right? But like if like you're a proper black skinned, then because of like the color, like it's just not gonna look as good when you have big lights shine on you. It's just not gonna look as good because black skin takes in the color. It's not gonna reflect it as much. So I think it has to do something with light. But I might have explained myself very poorly, so apologies.
Standard and we work together on that, then we have a lot, I think, something we can unify on, but also something that we can make strides in right now that I'm just not seeing. It's only, again, that's why people feel like you have to be a black feminist, because it's a topic that only really black feminists are talking about because it deals with being black.
How do beauty standards make you feel, Morris?
I mean, kind of what you're saying, Antonia, as a Black Latina woman in my community, right? Like, I grew up and I was ugly, right? Like, that's what I was considered. I was not considered beautiful. Of feeling ugly, but also being told I was, right, had a lot to do with what is believed in my community, right? Colorism is one of them. And so to say, I'm gonna redefine beauty for myself, and to say, I own myself, and I get to decide what's beautiful, right? And I get to decide what I wanna wear and how I wanna wear it. And I don't need to, right? It's almost a repelling, right? Like, I'm like, no, you know what? I am beautiful. I'm gonna do what I wanna do, and I'm gonna feel myself, because if no one else is gonna feel me, it's on me to feel me too.
I gotta say though, I did grow up being referred to as very beautiful for a woman with a disability. And that to me always fed this idea that disability doesn't mean beautiful. I am in some form of exceptionalism, which I then had to keep up with forever. So it's like, I got this thought as I started to age, like, you can have no legs, but you better not fucking get fat. And so this idea that like, there are certain people who are beautiful and certain people who aren't, and that inherently holds value is, I think, you know, find it in yourself, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a bell curve, right? So there's gonna be beautiful, there's gonna be average looking, there's gonna be ugly people. There's no going in, like you cannot change it, right? And obviously like face symmetry and like we are genetically programmed to find certain features attractive because we need to make sure when we select a mate that we pass on the good genes, and if we find someone attractive, that means they have good genes. That's like nature's way of telling us she's pretty, we're gonna have good kids. So, but if you're ugly, I don't want to fuck with you because our children will be ugly and the children won't be able to procreate. So I'm not fucking you because my genes and my time and my resources invested into the children would be wasted because it's very likely that they are not able to, or they won't be able to reproduce, right? So like pretty people, pretty privilege, like everybody wants to fuck pretty women, right? But and pretty men. But no one wants to fuck ugly people, right? So this is the whole biological reasoning. Like, if you are beautiful, you're gonna have children, and it's very likely your offspring will be beautiful. So your offspring will find it easier to reproduce. That's it.
Yes, and
Jordan?
Beauty standards are toxic bullshit hierarchical nonsense.
I'm not a violent person, but sometimes I could just really just bitch slap people.
And I say that as someone who has spent over a year collectively of my life in eating disorder institutions because I have tried to put my body through hellish things to meet these beauty standards, which more often than not are not
Beauty standards. You are a man. Like men are judged based on their skills, their merit, their how competent they are. That if you're a fat fuck, that's your fault, right? If you're a woman, that's different. But like for men, you have to get your shit together. That's it.
not based in reality. They're typically trends, they're created to push things, they're extremely useful for marketing, but they don't serve anyone's health, they don't serve anyone's self-esteem. They only act to try and tell us that there's a allegedly right way to have a body, and if you don't occupy that space and have that body, then you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but just work out. Problem solved.
which is absolute nonsense. And there are way too many women and men in the world who end up doing terrible things to themselves because they fall into this trap of thinking that you have to be this way. And if you aren't this way, then there's something inherently wrong at your core, which is nonsense. You're perfect the way you are. That's literally the...
Of course you're not perfect the way you are. Like, you should improve, you should work on yourself. Like, come on, like, you're never perfect the way you are. If you stop improving, why the fuck you keep on living?
Core of it, you are perfect the way you are. And anyone who tries to tell you otherwise is feeding into this industry and is just, they're not your friend or looking out for you.
Layla?
I think people, yeah, I think we should divide people. Like, we should let these kind of people have their own country, their own lives, and do their own stuff. And everyone else should just stay the same or stay where they are, is what I meant. Is problem solved. Like, if you have this ideology, there is a country, you just move there, it's all inclusive, everybody is welcome, free borders and whatnot. And yeah, let's see. If you are perfect the way you are, move into this country, all nice and dandy, socialism, free stuff, free healthcare, free education, free abortions, and everything, all nice and dandy. And if you want in the real world, you stay where you are.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, beauty in the industry is exploitative.
This lady didn't get to speak much.
But also we have to remember a lot of the beauty standards are based around health, what's perceived as health, like symmetry, certain weights,
She's smart as well. She knows what she's on about.
things like that. So there is that side where we have to balance it. And I think we're...
Yeah, if you have like warts and skin problems, like you're not healthy, like no one wants to fuck you, right? Like healthy, fit, symmetrical face, all biological signs that our offspring will be good.
We're seeing so much more representation, which I think is incredibly important.
Well, I just think that like, if women really cared about beauty standards, like the obesity rate wouldn't be what it is. Let's try to maintain the
Well said.
beauty standards. I mean, I just think like some people are more attractive, some people are less attractive, and that's just, you know, where would I rate myself 1 to 10?
No,
You know?
it's okay.
That's what I mean. Like, I just think like some people
So
are more
if you are
attractive.
overweight, you don't care about beauty standards,
Well,
is that right?
like the point is
But if you're overweight and you care about beauty standards, then you go to the gym, lose weight, become pretty.
that the beauty standard is thin, right?
Your standard?
Obesity comes from men and women, though.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. But I'm saying if women
Yeah, but like beauty standards for men is like healthy looking women, and for women it's like healthy looking men. And being fucking overweight and obese and fat is like definitely not fit and healthy.
really wanted to fit the beauty standard, they would be thin.
I know, I just, from my experience as well, is growing up again in a mostly white neighborhood but I was always comparing myself to literally other people who have a different body type, but I was considered other or to something because it didn't conform to that body type. When that same body type became popular with Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians, who are different, right?
Yeah, I mean, this looking like, well, sorry, so this lady is like, she definitely has like white hips and like she I don't know the word, but she, you know, she's I wouldn't necessarily say fat, but she has the like a very feminine body in terms of like big hips, and you know, she has like, I wouldn't, yeah, she's not fat, but she has like more fat on her, or I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call her like obese or overweight but she is definitely not lean, right? But I tend to find that black women have this body type, but that doesn't mean it's not attractive. It's just like genetically different, right? Like look at Sydney, she's lean. Look at Pearl, she's lean. Look at that man, but that's not this man. Look at the woman on the right, like she's lean and kind of looks petite, but yeah, everybody has different body types, but the fact that you can go work out, have a fit body is you're gonna have a body type, but you're gonna be fit looking, right? So your body type determines your frame, but you can still look attractive being fit and healthy.
Than me, let's just say, our different skin color, right? And there's a lot of animosity, a lot of black communities of the fact that when it was on black skin, it was an issue, but when it was on Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians, it was $1 billion business.
Yep. Our time together has almost come to an end. We sort of started talking about feminism, big picture. We're going to try again. Is feminism dead?
I think feminism is alive,
Define feminism.
and I'm thankful to be a participant and believer of it.
Why does she look like she has just cried?
I would say, as far as the West goes, I think that feminism has been cannibalized by other movements like leftism, like transgenderism.
So I think feminism is very much alive and well. I think it takes different forms depending on who you're talking to, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And as I've defined in the beginning, for me, I use it as a lens. So I don't think I'll ever stop having it in my arsenal, if you will. It makes for a good vice panel.
Okay, we're done. I appreciate everybody taking the time. I know this is, it got a little heated at times, but thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I stand up now? Oh my God. Are we actually really done?
I love arguing.
I don't think I have that long of
That was wild. I mean, drama. It was nerve-wracking.
Some of the people on the panel were entirely subsumed in misinformation.
I think that we women need to stick together and figure out what a woman is.
We were all
Figure out what a woman is. Well, everybody knows what a woman is, but for some reason they are ignoring the fact what a woman is. Crazy world, eh?
outspoken women.
Some people are soft.
And figure out what a woman is.
We were all loud, outspoken women.
You're not a woman, bruv. You're definitely not a woman. Like, don't kid yourself. Like, you're delusional.
Some people are soft.
I hate the idea that we're not supposed to be angry about it. It's okay to be angry about being oppressed.
It was like
How are you oppressed?
surprising to get sound police on camera by a white woman.
I don't know why everything has to become about me being a white person, as if that somehow circumvents my opinions on issues.
The personal is political, the political is personal.
We need to have more spaces where we have literal political ideologies of different backgrounds.
Feminism is always and has been a hate group.
Feminism isn't dead in America. I think feminism is doing its best.
I'm ready for a glass of wine.
Yeah, so final thoughts. So yeah, final thoughts. Men and women are different. Let's not kid ourselves. A woman is an adult human female. A female is basically, you know, like you can look at it genetically and biological standpoint. You like it. Come on, everybody knows what a woman is. It's just, yeah, just come on. Like you don't really see transgender and other mental illnesses in the animal world, except in humans. We have good lives. We live in the modern world. Men enable feminism for some reason because there are a lot of beta, useless men who think this will enable them to get into women's pants. So yeah, it's a clown world. It's just unbelievable. Like trans women are definitely not women. They are men, sometimes with mental illnesses, sometimes with an itch to just to show themselves because they have way too much time on their hands. And come on, if you don't think that you're heterosexual, just be cool about it. No one will care, right? As long as you're cool about it, everybody will be cool about it. If you want to have a laugh and dress up as a woman, sure, do it. Most people won't take you seriously, even though into your face. Like, I'm the kind of person who says into your face, I won't take you seriously. 99% of other people won't take you seriously either, but they are way too much of a pussy to tell you that they will take you seriously, right? Women and men in athletic sports should be separated if trans people wanna compete against other trans people. Don't have a problem with it. Feminism, well, what it started out as and what it is now is complete shit. So I just wanna say, just think about what kind of world you want your daughter to be in. Do you want your daughter to be in a world where the patriarchy, these fucking trans women, oppress your daughter, and also women are fed lies about the pay gap, or they need to fill a quota to be on a board of members in a company, filling a useless position just because she's a woman? So it's a crazy world. I don't know what else to add, but I really do hope that traditional masculine and feminine roles will come back, become popular again, and then the world will come to its senses. All this LGBT stuff needs to stop. Like, just if you're not heterosexual, just be cool about it. Even if you're heterosexual, just be cool about it. Like it's no one's business what your sexuality is. Just be cool about it. What else to add? Yeah, so just yeah, just be real. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, so anyway, my thoughts. Hopefully, I will get cancelled, threatened, and you know, all the good stuff what the inclusive left is all about. So yeah, if for some reason you watched 1.5 hours, I applaud you. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope that we can all agree on the basic principles that men and women are not the same, and that we'll have a better future for our children. Just let's be scientific, let's be rational and logical, and just let's seek the truth, shall we? Yeah, so I don't know how to close it down, so thank you very much for watching. Take care and have a good one. Bye bye.